I have a 24-year-old son that I adopted when he was 3. My son is very aggressive, both verbally and physically. So he knows what hurts, and he knows how to twist things so that if you respond, you're gaslighting him. And if you don't respond, you're manipulating him with silence. He's throwing knives at me, burying them in the drywall, and he's swinging it down at me and then just pulling it back just in time to sort of miss me. So the knife is kind of going right down here, maybe 3 inches from my chest. If it were my partner, I would have left right away, but it's my son, and I don't know how to embrace the boy I adopted and still deal with what I believe to be an undiagnosed mental illness at this time.
I've been married to an individual now for over 20 years who was diagnosed with bipolar type 1 about 8 years ago. We have crossed deserts, we have sailed around the world, we have crossed oceans on sailboats, we have done things that are rare and remarkable. But the disease itself is exceedingly unpredictable, and moments of great joy can turn into disasters from one second to the next. I felt like I failed very often as a husband, as a lover, as a friend.
I feel defeated, rejected, inadequate. It's painful. I had, like any mother, all these fantasies of what it'd be like to hang out with my adult son and learn about the world as he sees it. I love him to death. I think somewhere in there's a little piece of him that knows that. We're allowed to talk about the good things in life, but if you're struggling, you're not allowed to say anything.
Almost nobody knew about the condition up until about 3 years ago. It was our secret. And a couple living with a serious mental illness doesn't measure up to normal society. Many people are fortunate enough to have topics of conversation. What did you do on the weekend? Oh, I went to see a hockey game, or I went to watch my son play soccer, or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I was in the emergency room with my spouse who's mentally ill. Like, nobody wants to talk to you about that. So you just don't say anything. What was your weekend like? It was fine. End of story. Like, move on. With Pathways, I can talk about the weekend that wasn't great.
Having support from my friends and having support from Pathways is like an equilibrium. And with the tools and the medication, I'm enabling myself to be more objective. And it's really important to speak out. That's why I have done occasional talks. I'm more or less like being in this different, some of the courses. And for me to be a person with lived experience, people in the course can ask questions on what it's like, what are the symptoms, different things like that.
The disruption in relationships is so hard. It's so hard. And so the support groups and Pathways gives you a place to have a bit of a voice. They also tend to be very solution-focused.
The light at the end of the tunnel comes with education, communication, and support. Pathways offers all three of those. The individual who has the mental illness might be fortunate to have some medical and professional support. Many don't. But certainly the family members have nothing other than a group like Pathways. So Pathways provides support, group support, private support, literature support, links and informational support that then becomes education. Pathways provides courses for understanding the mental illness and courses on communication. If you can support one or two members of the family to keep everybody hopeful and keep everybody moving forward, then that family has a hope at ongoing happiness. Without Pathways, dark tunnel, no light.
Without Pathways, definitely at the time that I got in touch with them, I probably would have committed suicide. I was convinced at that time that my death would not hurt my son. I was that discouraged. So yeah, I don't think I'd be sitting here if I hadn't found Pathways.
Without Pathways and the work that it does, many, many families would be quite lost.
It's really important that we have support. And to sustain that support, we need our guest help. It is a worthwhile cause, and it needs to be supported.